Kisoro town is a peaceful and beautiful place with many tourist areas as well as activities like mountain climbing at the amazing mountain Mohavura. But on your way to these areas full of bliss, you come across the Nyakabande Transit Center and your heart skips a beat. You look at the people who belong to a nation blessed with so many riches, people who too would have wanted to love and celebrate life, but somehow they ended up in some place which cannot be home, but they have to live there. Gabriel, I want you to tell me something about the stay of our people, because they're also our people, the stay of them here.
That's true.
How do they live here? How do they survive?
When the refugees are here, like I hinted, this is in nature a transit center where we expect the refugees to stay up to a maximum of 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And while they are here, UNHCR through our partners will ensure they provided relevant assistance. And this is in multi-sectoral in nature. We offer shelter. As you can see, we have different tents and different communal shelters. And we do offer them water. We do offer different sanitation facilities in place. And of course, through our Partners World Food Program, we provide food. And most importantly, as a core assistance is the protection of the refugees, because we have peculiar cases like people with special needs, people that are extremely vulnerable. As you know, refugees in nature are vulnerable, but they are extreme cases, and we have mechanisms and staff in place to address and respond to such needs. And this we do, of course, in collaboration with different partners. And so while they are here, we always guarantee them protection and assistance.
Have you had cases where there are people who have masked as refugees and they're wrong people?
Good question.
I mean, isn't there that security concern?
Yeah. Definitely, as humanitarian actors and as a humanitarian organization, the United Nations seeks to ensure that the refugee camps and settlements are civilian in nature. And we, of course, always in partnership, working in collaboration with the security agencies, with our key stakeholders, Office of the Prime Minister, to ensure that such scenarios never happen. However, there are mechanisms in place to ensure that should we get military or elements coming into the camps, there are mechanisms to identify them through the security agencies. As you've seen around, we have police presence within the transit center, and these are facilitated by UNHCR through OPM, and they are always referred to relevant security agencies for further screening and further investigation. Once they are cleared, they are then returned back to the camp and handed over back to us to be registered as refugees. However, if they're proven to be military elements, then the government deals with them appropriately. However, we've been lucky not to interface with such
You've not had any of those cases?
Yeah. When you look around, you'll see very many sad faces, and definitely this is touching. And it touches, of course, the core principles that drive us into this kind of role and into this kind of positions we are in, to see how best we can also make a difference. Because when you interface with the refugees and interact with them and get a chance to know their individual stories, get a chance to know how they fled, how they've suffered even before they get here, it's definitely touching, and it drives you to see how you can make a difference. But of course, many times we are limited by the resources we have at hand and our individual potential to make a difference, because if you realize most of the causes of the problems that we are currently dealing with arise from a political level, and of course may require more political solutions. However, at our level we do our best, not just because we are working with a humanitarian organization, but also from an individual perspective we are touched to make a difference, and also see that we can put back a smile on some of the suffering.
The children are so happy though.
Yeah,
I think they
true.
don't know what's going on. I saw a small market where some of them are selling things. Do they come in with money?
Well, we have different profiles of refugees that are showing up, and some that are coming from the towns like Goma and Ruchuru town, some, I shouldn't use the word well off, but have some money on them and probably are able to buy a few things around the town. But however, the bigger percentage, which is beyond 90%, are peasants and are fleeing with almost nothing. Yeah, even some arrive without clothes and belongings because they are unable to carry such items with them. They're traveling 3-4 days before they
How
get.
come most of the people that are refugees are poor? Is the affected part of the nation, is it poor, the affected part? Because I was inquiring when we were moving around if there are any graduates or people who've been working and they also they ran and came here and I didn't get any. So how come most of them are really
peasants.
poor?
Yeah, that's true. The biggest percentage we have here, these are peasantry farmers, and it should also be noted the areas that are currently affected in rural areas. We've not had so many incidents happening in town areas, apart from, say, the situation late last year in Goma and during the takeover of Ruchuru. Otherwise, where we've had violence and upheavals, it's mainly in the rural areas where we have the peasants that are staying. And in general, Congo, as we are told, the biggest percentage of the population are poor generally. And these are mainly peasantry farmers. And that's why also the profile of the people we see does not surprise us.
I've seen some refugee girls that are really young, like 12 years old, and they're pregnant. I want to know what laws govern them.
Okay. Okay. Once generally refugees are in Uganda, they are governed by the laws of the country of asylum, which is Uganda, and they're expected to adhere to the laws of Uganda. And therefore, we work with the government to ensure that such cases are handled. And we have, for example, here in Nyakabande, community services section. We have protection staff that on a daily basis engage and look out for such incidents, and there are also standard operating procedures to deal with such cases.
Yeah, I mean, do you take time to counsel them or guide them that this is crime and this is wrong?
That's true.
And in case crime is committed, what happened?
Yeah, that's a good one. In general, we have what we call general sensitization to the refugees, more like an induction, because every other day, as you've seen, we continue to get new arrivals coming here, and this transit center receives an average of 80 refugees per day. So every day we do general sensitization to induct them on what's expected when they're here, what available services they can get, where they can go for help, and what kind of administrative sections we have and offices. So we have the community services section, and we also have the protection section. These on a daily basis interface with the refugees, and of course they offer counseling, and also we have standard referral systems on how to better deal with.
So they
such
know
cases.
that this is wrong, and
exactly.
So what happens when a crime is committed?
And when a crime is committed, of course, we have to follow the government procedures in place. It becomes a police case, and relevant mechanism take place.
No.
Yeah.
So many refugees are blessed to meet one or two family members that they lost touch with as guns fired and bombs went off. They are happy to see somebody that they have a blood relation with, but more so, somebody that they share a history of soreness with, somebody that will understand what they have lost. Is there any arrangement that involves tracing their families?
Yeah. One thing is, of course, as refugees are fleeing, there's a lot of family separation that takes place. And of course, this is just as a direct consequences of the war. They take different directions. So when they arrive here, we have quite a number of families that are separated. And we also have situations where we have young children who are not accompanied by parents because they've separated from their parents. And initial registration helps us to capture this. We take out the details of such individuals, and also we have mechanism on how to deal with them. We ensure that we put systems in place to provide for family reunification, because this is one of the core principles for UNHCR as well. Currently, through our partners Red Cross, we have a special desk that deals with basically family reunification. And they also, we have a phone tracing system in place. This is also supported through ICRC. And also we have cross-border tracing supported by ICRC. So on a daily basis, refugees are entitled to 2 minutes of a phone call to a relative, to a friend, a neighbor, to inform them that either they are here or to update them to facilitate also this tracing.
Say something about war as a solution, really. Is it worth it? You know, from forgetting that this has happened and everything, from a realistic point of view, is it a worthy resort? Is it a worthy solution?
Yeah. I mean, anyone who has been in a refugee situation or who has been displaced by war and who has had first-hand experience of the consequences that can happen because of war and violence will tell you one thing. If there is any avenue, if there is any possibility that can be undertaken or explored to avoid the possibility of war, then that should be looked into. Of course, from a personal perspective, I think it's always good that we look at peaceful resolutions to all our differences and conflicts, such that they are resolved with peaceful resolutions. And of course, any situation that involves fighting, war, will have consequences, and dire consequences, loss of life. You get a situation like what we are dealing with now, thousands of refugees fleeing.
Is it only Uganda where they flee to?
Some of these refugees that are proxy to the Rwandan border are fleeing to Rwanda.
And the systems of handling them are similar?
Same system.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. And those who are proxy to the Ugandan side flee to the Ugandan side. Yeah.
Right from the time when you get into the transit center to the time you leave, you are in disbelief. Young and old, male and female, a whole nation is running for asylum. So many questions run through your mind, and the worst is when you are informed that these thousands and more are to leave in a fortnight. More have been here and more are coming. I kept wondering, who exactly benefits from war? If no one, then why does it proceed? Has some success been registered? Have they found their people?
Yeah, as I hinted, we have a lot of family separations. Like for the children who are unaccompanied, we have success of up to 85%. They either reunite with their families while they're here or when they go to Ramwanja. Wow. And it's always work in progress for us because sometimes it takes actually longer periods to reunite the families. Oh. But it's ever work in progress for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is a lot of work.
Yeah, sure,
All
sure.
right. Thank you so much for
thanks
being
very
on the
much.
show. Thank you for talking to us
too.
about our dear friends.
Okay, you're most welcome.
Yeah.
And thank you for visiting the transit camp.
Okay.
Yeah,
keep trying. And let's keep praying that, someday we won't have to put up tents.
Yeah, that's true.
I hope these will be schools someday for people to study.
Exactly.
I hope UNHCR will be spending on schools and not wars.
Sure. It's our dream. It's our dream that one day we have a peaceful world and a peaceful region, and that the refugees can be able to return back home. And when this does happen, UNHCR, we shall facilitate their return back to home.
Okay, please. The songs sung by the little children are songs of war, like O Moto Nawaka, O Moto Nawaka, meaning there will be lots of fire or there will be lots of trouble. This is what they have been exposed to. People live a life where they just grow but do not progress because war has limited their opportunities. You would expect the refugees to long to return home in Democratic Republic of Congo, but home is not home no more. It is a boulevard of bloodshed and broken dreams. They instead sang me a song to inform me that they want to go to Kamwenge district, which is the settlement location that the government of Uganda provides refugees.